What up, War Room World? I'm Dev, War Room Sports.
Yo, this is the brother Liquid Lou, a.k.a. B. Austin, a.k.a. your mother's crush.
Yo, we just want to talk a few minutes today about the whole situation going down at Rutgers. Seemed like the ish didn't hit the fan, brother. Mike Rice was fired a couple days ago. His assistant coach, some video came out with him bullying the kids, roughing up the players a little bit. He resigned. And earlier this morning, Tim Pernetti, the athletic director, he resigned from the university. So it seemed like the ish hit the fan, the shoe dropped, whatever cliche you want to use. But what are your thoughts about that? Like, let's take it another way. I got a son, you got a son. Of course, they're not college age because we just got out of college ourselves like last semester. But that's another story.
Super duper uber seniors.
How do you feel watching that video? Does it change anything from how you would have felt before now that you got a kid of your own? Like, what would you do if you were a parent of one of those players?
Yeah, it definitely hit me actually in the heart a little bit. Another cliche metaphor, they done scattered like roaches with the light coming on. I definitely feel as though it was uncalled for. They deserved to be fired. Here's the thing. Even though college-age kids are not really children anymore,
right,
they're still in a position where adults, responsible educators and administrators are there to educate them and protect them.
Right.
If you can't be protected by your coach and your coach is in a position of leadership, your AD is in a position of leadership, so parents and guardians and even the student body themselves are entrusting those people to protect them and to lead them in their last stage of childhood growth or whatever.
Right.
You can't trust those folks. Yo,
you trust? No,
can you trust? Right.
It's interesting that you say that because I agree fully. That somehow these guys should have been fired, should have resigned, or whatever happened. Because usually that's not the stance we take. I kind of get tired of everybody calling for somebody's job at every little thing that happens, every little thing that somebody says. But in this instance, after watching that video, man, like we've grown up, playing a lot of sports,
played for some
basketball,
tough coaches,
football. We played with some tough coaches. We've heard some language, and language doesn't really bother me. Maybe the whole, them calling them faggots and fairies and stuff like that. That's a little different than if he's just cursing at you to get some fire up under you. But that tape was just crazy.
Was crossed. A line was crossed.
Like I've even seen I don't think it's ever happened to me, but I've even seen coaches maybe grip a player up by the collar or something, say something stern to him. But in this instance, man, they were like beaming basketballs at the dudes, pushing dudes from behind when they didn't even know they were coming. And I think the assistant coach was
worse than the head coach. The question you have to ask yourself whenever you look at instances where players are disciplined, the action that the coach undertakes, what is the benefit to the player?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna grip you up by your collar, if I'm gonna curse at you, if I'm gonna do any of those things which are severe, there has to be a positive motive behind it. This is a serious situation. This is a serious message I'm trying to convey and get across to you. So this is why the language is being used. This is why my actions are what they are.
Wow.
Those actions by those coaches at Rutgers had nothing to do with a positive message or bettering the play.
I would say to you, judging by their record, the method didn't work at all. So I don't really.
They're bullies.
He did anything.
Essentially, they're bullying. They're bullying their players, and a bully is a coward. And I like to see all cowards.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, if you think about it, bullying comes in all shapes, sizes, ages. When you think of bullies, you usually think of somebody close to each other in age, getting at somebody. But this was a case of bullying. And I keep saying, especially in the assistant coach situation, because he looks like a noodle. And he looked like that made his life to be able to, you know, sternly tell somebody what to do, curse at somebody.
He was probably the manager of a Division I program. He couldn't make the squad. He's been laughed at his whole life. He didn't get no yams on campus. This was his opportunity to put some little ninjas in their place. And he took every opportunity possible to throw balls, to push them, to chastise them, holler, curse, kick, scream, yo. He was a doodle.
It still didn't result in yams, I'm sure of it. Look at his picture.
Wins.
But look, last question before we get out of here. Like I said, we already played the parent angle, but let's go like now. What would you do if your son called home and told you this? Even if your son didn't call home and tell you this, what would you do if you saw this videotape and your son was one of the people on the tape getting the ball beamed at him?
It's funny you ask, because my wife and I,
a trip to Jersey.
Yeah, that trip is happening. My wife and I have a different approach as to how we deal with, because the way I was raised, I was always kind of taught that you look at what you've done to put yourself in a position where an authority figure is upset with you or has to discipline you, and you analyze it from that perspective. You don't start with the authority figure and asking or questioning them. You just assume that authority figure has your best interest at heart, so you need to think how you got yourself in that situation. In this case, this is one of the few situations I've seen where the authority figure handled discipline, whatever you want to call it, abuse of power. So there is no question that I would have of what my child or student athlete had done that was wrong, because the response to whatever action was totally inappropriate and totally incorrect on the part of the coaching staff. So there's no question that I got to go up there and now knock you to
No doubt. I mean, this is difficult to watch from that aspect when you're thinking, like, what if this was my son? And just like you said, you always want to know in any situation like that, what your child did to provoke that kind of reaction. But this wasn't really reactive. This is just his coaching style. Dude is in serious need of some anger management, and I think that's just the bottom line. So like you said, a trip to Jersey would be in order. Coach Mike Rice and Coach Jimmy Martelli, would get a little bit of bullying of their own. And that's just how it would have to be.
I would definitely have to have a conversation with some nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
And in fact, if we see them on the street, I'm not saying that we will whoop their ass, but if I would definitely have some sharp criticisms that I would want to espouse to them man to man about their behavior. Because when you become a parent, you now take other people's children and you put your children in their position and you put yourself in their shoes as best you can. And it's just terrible to see kids mistreated, even 19, 20, 21-year-olds who you think of, all right, they're adults and they deserve the ass kickings that life is going to send their way, but not like that. Not with folks that they are trusting to guide them. That was just
doubt.
My heart reached out to them. And,
all right, so everybody
turned into a soft batch. So
yeah,
go ahead.
So everybody, tell us what you think about this situation. What would you do if you were one of the parents in this Rutgers situation? Leave it in the comments. Let's get a dialogue started. Make sure you click on that little thing up there in the corner that says subscribe, so you can subscribe to the channel so you can get all our videos. Check out everything we do at warroomsports.com. And again, for my man B. Austin, a.k.a. Liquid Lou, I'm Devin, War Room Sports. As always, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
See you chumps on top. Shout out to the brother Jimmy.
Holla.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, the first of